Welcome to Fire-Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that still fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order, or you can skip any that you don't enjoy. Today we're playing a very popular mystery and horror TTRPG, Call of Cthulhu, 7th edition. In Call of Cthulhu, you take on the role of everyday people who become investigators of the unknown, whether they are prepared or not. It's our first time playing, so we might make a few mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find Call of Cthulhu on chaosium.com, build your own Call of Cthulhu investigator, and play a game with friends. And now, before I pass it over to my friends, I'd like to just quickly address the fact that H.P. Lovecraft, the person who wrote the Cthulhu mythos that this game is based off, was problematic. He was a horrible racist, and among other things, was horrible even in the time in which he lived. None of us support him. We're here to play a horror and mystery game and have some fun. So with that said, today we are joined by Belle.
Well, hello. I'm so excited to get started on this horror mystery journey. My name is Belle, short for Belladonna, and up until recently, I was actually a yellow canary. Would you believe it? But today, and after my last adventure, I'm actually in the form of a little pixie. I have yellow canary wings and bright blonde hair that has little feathers sticking out of it. And today I am wearing, oh my goodness, it's so incredible to actually be wearing my favorite kind of dress. It's a poodle skirt in royal blue, and it has shiny gold buttons all over it. And you can see in my hair, I have a little half updo. Oh my gosh, I have hair to dress up. It's so fun. But the little pin that's holding it up actually has this black, darker than black orb that actually allows me to take on this pixie form. So I'm very excited. I hope I don't lose it because that would be terrible. I guess I should tell you a little bit about myself for this game. I have a high dexterity with a skill rating of 70. And I actually have a surprising occult rating as well at 41%. And I have a dodge of 35%. So I think those ones are going to be the most relevant today, but there are other things that I'm kind of good at. But I'm really just happy to be here.
And Adraias.
Hey guys. So, I'm not exactly what you consider normal. For some of you, they may call me a demon, but I prefer our actual term, Hoxlane. I'm 6'3" with alabaster skin. I've got long, wavy black hair, usually wearing a leather jacket with chains lining the shoulders, plain tank top, dark denim jeans, and I like to parade around my snake bite piercings. You know, for the ladies. Well, I can definitely say that I'm not your average person. I like to be what they consider a greaser back in this game. I love to deal around with mechanical things, which is at a 60. My auto drive is 50 because I own a bike. And I also have a psychology of 50 because I'm always observing, always watching.
Well then, let's get on with it. As we begin, the two of you are in a spacious and comfortable car on your way to the edge of New Anthera, having just accepted a guild flyer in the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. The flyer mentions visiting the Harrowfield Estate to investigate reports of trespassers after the disappearance of the estate's owner. It states that adequate compensation will of course be provided as long as a report is filed. Your driver is a petite, older woman with short, curly white hair who calls herself Mrs. Rita Finch. She's been quiet during this long but uneventful drive, but perks up as the road turns to gravel. Oh, there we go. We'll be there presently, my dears. I do apologize for my lack of conversation during the trip. These roads are so twisty-turny that if I don't pay close attention, I could get us lost. Now then, once I drop you off, I will need to leave immediately if I'm to make my next appointment. Driving is only a side hustle, you understand. I'm actually the estate's lawyer. So, so do you have any questions for me about the job before I drop you off and immediately leave?
So you said there was a report that needed to be filed. We do care quite a bit about compensation. Where can we find that?
Well, I will be picking you up when everything is all said and done, and we can worry about the paperwork then, dear.
Okay.
I've got a question, actually.
Okay.
What is it we're exactly reporting again?
Well, you're looking for any evidence of trespassers. If you come across a trespasser, I won't be here, so you do what you need to do with that trespasser. But I just need to know that at the end of the day, there are none left in the estate, so I can continue the estate's paperwork and get it passed on to the relative heir.
Sounds like fun.
So do we need any keys to get into locked rooms, or is the place open?
Oh, I didn't even mention, there is a guard on site. The guardhouse is just near the front door of the estate. Our last guard left unexpectedly, but the new guard, she seems very nice. She seems a little nervous, but she seems very nice. And if you have any issues getting into anywhere, she should be able to help you. But as far as I know, the front door is unlocked and ready for you both to go in.
Well, do you consider that might be part of the issue is having unlocked doors, or maybe having your whole security for one person? Just something to think about when the new owner comes in. Just a thought.
I will pass on that recommendation, my dear. I appreciate you both coming out here, and I appreciate such intelligent and well thought out questions.
This woman's a lawyer. Great.
Ooh.
Well,
Right.
I can't think of anything else. Can you, Aeneas? Adraias? Oh, excuse me. I have a friend named Aeneas. I get you two mixed up all the time.
It's all right. I'm still new here anyways, still trying to find my way around. No, just, do we have any other possible defenses to keep these trespassers at bay?
She thinks for a moment and, she's like, I believe there might be some trespasser interruption devices, as it were, in the guardhouse, and I'm sure the guard can help you out with that. I'm not advocating for violence, you understand, but also I won't be there, and all I care about is getting this estate cleaned out. So you two do what you have to do.
She's definitely a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise, when everything is said and done, you will receive ample compensation. I just have to make sure that report gets filed, that's all.
Well, I don't think I have any other questions.
Yeah, I'd rather get this over with.
So the car turns a corner, and you're immediately greeted by the gates to the property. They're already open, and in fact, they look like they're rusted that way. Probably about 6-7 feet tall, big gates. It looks like they haven't been closed in years. The gravel
Adraias
drive.
will look at Belladonna at that and just kind of raise an eyebrow.
The gravel drive beyond it is overgrown but passable. And at the end of it, perhaps 100 yards off, the estate stands in the gray afternoon light. 3 stories of dark stone, a newer wing kind of jutting off from the right that doesn't match the rest, and not a single light on in any window of the estate. The area on either side of the drive is wild, but the paths are still visible. It just looks like no one has maintained this yard for a little while. And she pulls up. You both get out of the car, and the minute the doors are closed, she speeds off back down the drive towards the main road. Burning rubber, getting out of there as quick as she possibly can. There's a good chance that you've never seen someone this old drive so fast in your life.
You know, I am now wondering, maybe we should have asked what kinds of trespassers we're looking for. Because she seemed to leave. I thought she just had to go to another appointment like she said, but she seemed kind of scared.
Yeah, I might be new here, but probably should have thought of, like you said, what kind of trespassers. Not so much as how I thought as to who.
Well, maybe we can ask the guard that. She might have a better idea.
I think we'll have a real good idea here pretty soon.
So to the right of the estate, you can see the outline of a guardhouse. There's also a whole bunch of big magnolia trees. And one of the first things you smell when you arrive here is just the scent of magnolia. It's just like hanging heavy in the air everywhere. All the flowers are in bloom. And then next to it is this little quiet guardhouse sitting on the right.
So real quick, what kind of flowers are in bloom here?
Magnolias. They're like kind of medium.
Just magnolias?
Yeah. Medium to large size, like white flowers. They smell really nice.
All right, Adraias is just going to go ahead and start strolling up to the guardhouse. Hello?
You can see some movement in the guardhouse, and then you hear like a crash and then like a breaking noise, and then you hear some sort of profanity in a language you probably don't understand. It's Gaelic, and you see these long rabbit ears poke out around the guardhouse, and then very, very cautiously, a rabbit folk woman kind of peeks her head around very nervously and says, "Oh, you must be one of the kittens. I'm so glad you're here."
Not to tell you how to do your job, but should you really be showing anyone intimidation?
You are completely right, but I just want you to know that I've only been working this job for a little while. I'm not a guard by trade. I didn't go to guard school, so I'm still learning. But feedback taken. But you're here to solve the problem, so it won't matter, right? You're here to kind of clear out the trespassers.
He'll kind of look up and down this guard, and he'll just kind of again raise an eyebrow and, yeah, about that. What kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, this is a little embarrassing. I haven't actually been in the estate. I've seen some figures kind of moving by, and I haven't seen anyone come out of the estate. But I haven't gone in. Since I've started here, I've had nightmares pretty much every night. So, and I think not to scare you, please don't. I'm scared enough for all of us. But I have seen some figures. I can't tell you whether they're like what gender they are, or if they're human or elf or what have you. I just know I've seen kind of figures darting by the window, and I went in once, like 10 feet into there, and I was out of there real fast. But you two are real brave, so I'm sure you'll be fine.
Starting to understand why we were called here. At least a little bit.
Well, they always pick us for the tough jobs. That's what makes it so exciting. What's your name?
My name's Morel.
Oh, what a pretty name.
Thank you.
Well, you just stick right close to out here, Morel, and we'll take care of everything. We really just have to make sure we can get in and out of the house and other rooms okay. And I think that Miss Rita said that you have some devices to help us take care of things.
Oh, and she seems very eyes get big, and she's like, devices. I don't think you'll need them. But there are a couple of, kind of looks both ways, and she's like, guns, in the guardhouse. I've never used them. So, but if you need them, they're in there. I'm sure you can just talk to them. I'm sure they're fine.
Adraias is just going to crack his knuckles and go, now this is what I'm talking about. He's going to go ahead and stroll on in and check those out.
Yeah, there's like a normal size, like we'll say shotgun, and a adorable, fairly small other gun amongst a few others, but there is definitely a Belle size gun and a larger like shotgun size gun.
Adraias is going to go ahead and take the shotgun down, inspect it, see if it's loaded already.
It's not, because that would be irresponsible, but there is ammunition that you can see not far up, kind of in the wall, in a box kind of thing.
He just nods and he continues to inspect it.
Morel may not have gone to guard school, but she's got good common sense.
She has.
That much I can say, at least somewhat.
So you said there was a Belle-sized one?
Yeah, there's like a little in our world it would kind of look like a small water pistol.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, she will absolutely go up and grab it. And she's almost just like, wow, hands are pretty amazing. You can grab so many things. I've actually really been enjoying thumbs. But she'll go and handle it, and she'll take some ammunition and keep them on separate sides of her. So I guess she'll kind of have like a holster that she puts both of them into around her waist. And also it looks like a very tasteful belt to go along with her little poodle skirt dress. And I think we just need the keys or something, because I don't really want to take her into the house. I feel like that would be dangerous.
She looks over and says, the door's unlocked. I haven't gone back in and relocked it. I've been here. I haven't seen anyone go in. But the door's unlocked.
Are all of the doors unlocked? There could be other places in the house that we might need keys for.
Oh, that's such a good point. And she like rifles around in some drawers and pulls out a little ring of keys that's got maybe about like 3 keys on it. They're the old school like skeleton key style keys. This estate is, you can tell it's quite old. It's probably 300-400 years old. And she hands you the keys and says, if you just drop them off when you're done.
Whoa! The keys are so heavy for her that she almost drops them, but she's just like fluttering her wings and brings them over to Adraias. Says, Adraias, do you mind carrying these?
Yeah, not a problem. He just holds his hand out.
Blah! Kutunk. It's just like a light little patter on your palm.
I do have a couple more questions before we go in here. As you notice behind him, he's carrying a little wheeled like box that has different drawers and latches and stuff on it. Kind of curious, what's the maintenance upkeep looking like? Power situation? Are we still functioning, or does there's things that need to be taken care of?
Well, the estate hasn't had electricity in, since the disappearance of the owner. So there are candles, kerosene lamps, things like that inside. And I think it's light enough that if you open the curtains, there should be enough light to come in. I'm afraid I can't hook power back up. That's something that'd have to be done off-site. But there should be stuff inside if it gets dark.
He goes rummaging through this box, and you notice he pulling out different drawers and kind of muttering to himself as you hear different pieces of metal, wrenches, tools, stuff like that, clanging around. Where did I put this? Come on. I know it's here. Aha! He pulls out a small flashlight.
She's like, oh, I didn't even think about a flashlight.
This poor woman.
Gotta always come prepared. As you see him kind of twirl a crescent wrench between his fingers and kind of stick it in one of his tool belt loops.
So, Morel, you said that the previous owner disappeared? Do they know how or why?
I wish I could tell you. But honestly, he disappeared. Nobody heard from him, for a while, probably a few months. And then things were very quickly moving on to pass the estate on to someone else. So we haven't heard from. We all hope that he's okay and that he just left. He has quite a bit of money, Mr. Ashford. It's not unheard of for him to leave for long periods of time. So it's possible that he just left for an extended trip and didn't tell anyone.
Okay. Well, Adraias, do you think that we need any more information? I think we're ready to go and hunt some trespassers.
Yeah, I think it's just about time. If you give me just a second, though. And you'll see him step outside of the guardhouse and turn a corner out of sight for a moment.
You think he's using the bathroom?
Morel, shrugged, looks slightly alarmed, and kind of busies herself with cleaning up the mug that she broke because she heard you coming around the side of the guardhouse.
As he comes back around the corner, you see him, his chest puffed up a little bit more, him looking a little more sturdy. All right, better late than never. Let's get going.
Okay. Well, don't worry, Morel. We will be back by the end of the day. I think that was when it was. Yes, back by the end of the day so that we still have light.
As you're both kind of walking away, she's like, if you need anything, I'll be right here. I won't be anywhere else on the estate. Just right here. Nowhere else.
Okay.
He just kind of gives a sloppy wave, not looking back.
So what were you doing around the corner there?
Was trying to find a few bit of my tools that I seemed to misplace. Apparently I had a couple of them in my pocket.
And you had to leave the guardhouse to do that?
It would kind of look weird just to see me go through my things and pat myself down in front of everyone. Didn't want to look weird.
You sure you didn't just use the bathroom and you're too embarrassed to say?
What? No, that's why they have toilets.
Oh, you totally used the bathroom. I knew it.
I did not.
Sure.
Whatever. Not gonna argue.
Because you know I'm right.
He just groans a little bit as he flicks on the flashlight and starts kind of looking around as we start to approach.
So when you... Sorry, go ahead. So when you... there's really nothing on the ground on either side of the door. When you push the door open, there's no real resistance, but it's got that annoying squeak noise that happens when you don't oil a door frame. And it's unlocked, like Morel said. Looking inside, it's light enough in there that you can see. You might need the flashlight for the shadows here and there, but otherwise you can see the Great Hall. You enter in immediately into the Great Hall, which is the big room that you would greet visitors. It's kind of a way to show off your wealth. It's tall, it's cold. There's stone floors running as far as you can see. Furniture is heaped under white dust sheets that have kind of gone gray and a little bit dusty on either side of the hall. A grand staircase rises at the far end. It rises up and there's kind of a space between it and the back wall. But it's ornate, it's opulent, frankly kind of disgusting how much money's been put into this staircase. And then the walls on either side of it are hung with portraits. It's like a whole family kind of watching you from the back wall. These are faces from 2 centuries ago, a century ago, kind of a great-great-grandfather, grandfather, father. And then the closest portrait that you can see has the little plaque that says Sir Edmund Ashford. He is a gaunt-looking man in his 50s. The way his hands are clasped, you can see like they've painted ink stains on his fingers. And he's got that kind of mean look that old professional portraits always seem to have, regardless of how nice the person was. And there's something about the way that all of the portraits are painted that makes you feel like they were all looking somewhere else a moment ago and then turned to kind of look at you as soon as you walked in the door.
Adraias is going to have such a nasty scowl on his face as he's looking around on this. Like he just walked into a literal sewage drain. He looks absolutely appalled at the place.
Oh, it's so lovely.
Whatever.
Well, can you imagine just how many hands were needed to build all of this? I could never have done anything close to this before.
His eye begins to twitch a little bit. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
How much time do you think it took to build this place?
Really wouldn't matter if you have all that money floating around.
Well, the money's obviously going to the people who built it, right?
Debatable.
Well, I mean, I guess we should go and get started. Hello, trespassers.
He kind of slowly face palms and shakes his head.
Oddly enough, no trespassers respond. I will say, I'm going to get each of you to roll me a roll.
Yes.
Adraias, if you can give me a psychology roll. And Belle, if you can give me a spot hidden roll.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, so my spot hidden's only at 25%, and I rolled a 68. So, yeah, my points, one might say they were dispersed more upon flavor than actual function. So no, I do not pass that spot hidden roll.
Okay. And listener, if you're wondering, if you roll over your skills points, then you fail. If you roll under, then you succeed. And how low you go is a higher and higher success. That's the way Call of Cthulhu works. So you don't spot anything with that, with the spot hidden. But you do happen to notice when you're looking for like little things, you notice that to the left, you have one door that leads off to like a little wing. And then to the right, you can see the beginnings of a library that stretch up to a second floor, which presumably is where the staircase goes, to that second floor of the library.
And for Adraias and his psychology being at 50, he rolled a 19.
Ooh,
nice.
So that is a hard success because it's under half. So you look at these paintings, the paintings who, you're not entirely impressed so far with what you've seen. And you have this generational wealth kind of spread in front of you. But that psychology, you're looking at them and the eyes are all painted. But as you kind of walk along the paintings, you're like, these eyes are following me. They're watching me. And as you go to the end of the paintings, away from Sir Ashford, Edmund, you glance back at him, and he's looking the opposite way. You're sure of it. You know without a shadow of a doubt that he was looking to the left, and now he's looking to the right.
He's going to go back up to the painting, and he's going to look it over just to see, having some knowledge in art, he's going to kind of eye it to see if it's one of those paintings that was deliberately made to have that trick of the eye, or maybe he's just tired, or...
You can't say for sure either way. You just know he's looking the opposite way. It's entirely possible it was painted to have that effect. That's a very common effect for paintings. But you do know that he's looking the opposite way from when you walked in.
He's just going to rub his eyes real quick, kind of shake his head lightly and go, all right, let's keep moving. Place is already weirding me out.
Well, there's a library to our right, and it looks like a smaller wing off to our left. Do you have a preference?
Well, we're supposed to see about trespassers, so I'm thinking maybe see if Mr. Ashford here has some enemies, or maybe someone who might want to set him up while he's been away, or,
So maybe looking into maybe if there's like a personal journal in the library or some records? You thinking like that?
You got it.
Well, let's go then. Oh my gosh. And we're going to go into the library. You guys should know, I as the player really don't like horror. But Belle is characteristically very brave. So I'm trying to channel a lot of her right now. But like you were talking about the eyes moving, and I was just sitting here going like,
to where I, as a player, am absolutely a horror fanatic. And Adraias, well, he can kind of take or leave horror-esque things.
Oh, this is fun. This is going to be good. Okay, we'll go into the library. What do we see? Or more accurately, what does Belle fail to see?
So, as mentioned, the library runs 2 stories. There are shelves running floor to ceiling with one of those adorable rolling ladders on like a brass rail.
Oh, I love that.
Everyone loves them. The curtains are kind of mostly drawn, so light that comes in is like the color of like old paper. On the ground floor, walking in, the first thing that you smell is there's no like dust or stale smell in this room. It smells like ink and cold coffee. The room still feels lived in. Edmund's desk is in the center. Very untidy. This is a man who uses every bit of his desk when he's working on something. Nothing is piled neatly. There's a leather portfolio sitting open on it, and then a stack of 3 papers. The top sheet is a map, beautifully drawn, technically immaculate. I apologize if I haven't mentioned before, but Sir Edmund is a cartographer. So
okay.
Even though he's wealthy and he doesn't need to work, he has a passion for making maps. So this map is of this house. Beautifully drawn, all inked by hand with like a quill pen. And just glancing at it, you're like, oh, that's this house. But it doesn't look quite right. Like it's this house, but it doesn't look quite right. And then there's a few other pages beneath it.
So first, Adraias is going to take a big old whiff smelling that coffee and just... Man, what I would do for a cup right now.
I mean, there is one right there, if you really need it.
Yeah, there's a cup of coffee on the floor next to the chair. And it looks fine. No mold, no...
Adraias is going to eye that suspiciously, like, it's cold but not molded. And he starts kind of skeptically looking around, analyzing like every nook and cranny of the wall and room. Fun little fact about him, he is unnaturally over-analytical. Almost to a paranoid state, you would say. So he's kind of eyeing everything, and he's glancing at the map, and he's just kind of really meticulously kind of taking everything in.
Belle is going to go through the portfolio and just kind of see what she can find on the desk while Adraias is doing more of the room searching.
So in that journal, in the portfolio, you kind of flick the corners. You can see the dates kind of going back about 18 months. Earlier entries are very dry, scientific, methodical. They all talk about making these maps and like surveying the estate. And then as you get closer to the top page, they grow increasingly excited, but kind of strange. So one of the older ones, you kind of see like little bits and pieces of text. And one says, the discrepancies are not errors. The estate is a palimpsest, which is when an original structure exists, but then something has been written over it.
Oh.
And you can start to see his writing getting more chaotic. Like he goes from this beautiful, beautiful calligraphy to more of a scrawl as the entries get closer. And you see another little entry that says, I found the language. My mistake was being too clever. It's not a metaphor. Space is a grammar. This thing speaks it.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Space is a grammar?
And then
Drace is going to look over this paperwork and the writing and everything. Can I do a psychology roll to see what might have changed the handwriting?
Sure. Yeah, give me a psychology roll, and we'll say that on a regular success, you see one thing, and maybe a hard or extreme success, then you get like a bit more.
Nah, I can't make heads or tails of it. It's a 67, and I have a 50.
Okay. Belle, would you like to do a psychology or a spot hidden? Because you're both looking at it.
Right. I'll do a spot hidden. You know, it's funny. I'm looking at my character sheet now, and now that we're actually playing it, I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't have put points into these things. But, you know, that's what happens when you play for the first time. So we'll make it work. So I'll do a spot hidden. No, I do not pass that.
Since we're just getting started, there is a rule that if you have another skill that's better, and you can give me a reason why your character would use that skill, then you can just use that skill, but just go one level more difficult.
Okay. I would actually love to do that. I have a high language skill.
Perfect.
So
yeah.
That's what I was going to go with as well.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I think using language to being very familiar with the language, it'll be easier to spot differences or inconsistencies. Yes, and that's a 45 on a skill level of 85.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. So with your knowledge of language, you look at this writing that slowly becomes more of a scrawl, that becomes more chaotic. You could almost say becomes manic. And you're looking through, and the final entry, the entry that's up on the desk that you see when you first look at the portfolio, it's kind of like bland coordinates. But then as you kind of tip your head and look at it, you start to see little words that kind of go around the coordinates, that he's taken the time to use a tiny little pen to write words around the coordinates that say, I understand now why I inherited this place. And then you can see it says it chose me 2 or 3 times. And then it says I can read now. And obviously, you know, he doesn't mean that he can finally read. He has all these books. But he says I can finally read now. And then Adraias, what did you roll?
With also an 85, I got a 22.
Holy crap.
So that's a hard success, extreme success? I think that's
hard. The extreme would have been to go under 17.
Okay, so it's a hard success. Are you also looking at the journal, or are you looking at something else on the desk?
I still am glancing at the journal. At the same time, though, I'm also kind of seeing if there's any other clues as to why this is kind of went from neat and tidy to sporadic.
When you're looking through them, you can see, because these are all dated, you can see where the dates, like where the writings change. And the day the writing changes is the date where he says, I found the language. When he's talking about grammar being a space. It seems like that discovery has excited him or has changed something in the journal. And you can see that date on the map as well. One of the maps.
Huh. So it looks like when his handwriting changed, It seems to be on this date, which correlates to this map. I wonder if... He starts shuffling through the map and starts to try to match up the dates that start... his handwriting starts changing and see if it correlates into something.
So the top map is the most recent map. Everything looks to be in the right place, except where it goes from the library into the east wing. There are 14 rooms listed. Now, when you looked at the estate when you came in, there is no way that you could squeeze 14 rooms between the front door and where Morel is in the guardhouse. But that's what's on the map. And then an earlier map doesn't have those 14 rooms, but the guardhouse is on the opposite side of the house.
Huh. Think we might want to take these maps with us.
And then the final, earliest map is close to what you see here, but the library is on the opposite side of the staircase.
As he notices that, he immediately looks bewildered, and he starts looking back between that map change and the one prior to it, and he's going, it's kind of one hand and with one map, one hand with the other, and he's trying to make heads or tails of it.
Can you make out any of this?
Well, I mean, it looks like they just moved the rooms. How difficult could that be?
Considering the one that's moved is the one we're standing in, and then this room matches up to the original map, and then it moves with this new map.
I'm just messing with you, Adraias. That is really freaky.
I'd like both of you to give me a sanity check.
Oh, God. That's not great. This die... Sorry, I need to find a different D10. I just realized that this die does not differentiate between 6 and a 9.
I got lucky on that.
Did you roll under?
Very much so. Extreme success, you would say.
Perfect.
I got a 41 and my sanity is 75.
I got an 11 and my sanity is 60.
Your sanity is only 5?
75?
Oh, it cut out. I was like, how do you only have 5 for sanity? This is going to be a very short and interesting game.
Yes.
No. Oh my God. No, I'm a beginner, but I'm not that. I knew I needed that high.
Okay. You both passed it. You only lose 1 sanity point. As the kind of weirdness of this house begins to kind of settle in.
Even on an extreme success?
Even on an extreme success.
All right.
So that just means that the total sanity goes down, right? So it goes from 75 to 74. Okay.
Yep.
Great. Well, I have... Oh, sorry. I guess just in character. I've been thinking, if he says that space is a language, and he's got these coordinates here, and these rooms are all changed, I wonder if there's anything in the actual library itself that might be weird, space-wise, or in the house. I don't really know how we'd go about doing that, or looking for that, but maybe we can start with the coordinates listed, and then maybe take a good look of the space and make sure it follows actual physics and geometry.
Yeah. Before we do that, though, let's see if there's any books that kind of stand out that might make a bit more heads or tails of this real quick.
He's going to go ahead and try to go around the library and see if any books kind of stand out that would correlate to this, or anything that might be odd.
Yeah, and I can help out with that since I can fly. I'll take the taller shelves, taller portions of the shelves.
So to kind of notice like patterns or books that stand out, if you both want to give me either library use or language, or psychology, any of those 3 roles will work.
Honestly, my language is the highest, so...
Yeah, same.
I'm good. Bro, I got an extreme success.
So did I.
Whoa! I hope it actually yields useful information. So I got a 12, and my language is 85.
And I got a 9 where mine's an 85.
You two are all about the language, the library, the writing, the books. Edmund would love you. So looking at the collection, one of you kind of looking at the bottom shelves, one looking at the top shelves. The collection's very eclectic, as most people that collect books, tend to have an eclectic collection. There's what you expect, surveying manuals, like classical history, but then you start getting into like obscure theological texts on like debunking religion, like kind of examining religion from an outsider's point of view. And then there's a very significant occult section that is in Latin and French. You don't see any in like English or common, depending on, how you phrase it. And they all seem to be like, none of them are dusty. These are all books that he's, pulled out, put back in. They've been well read. A few of them are annoyingly backwards, so you can't see the spine. No one should do that.
No one.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick
Adraias
question for you, Adraias. What languages do you know? I know Egyptian and Muvian and my own. I don't know what Muvian is.
He knows a like introductory French, English, and then ironically, he does know intermediate Latin. He's not great at it, but he is a little read.
Okay. So I have an occult at 41 points, but I don't have the language to read them. So I'm wondering, I would like to go and find the one that looks the most worn. Basically the one that has like the spine that is cracked the most, the one he read the most often. And I want to bring it down and show Adraias. And then as he's reading and translating it, I would like to use my occult skill, if possible, to kind of decipher what relevance or like a hint to the relevance it might have to the spaces language thing.
Okay. If you want to give me an occult roll, Belle, and Adraias, if you're going to be the one translating, then give me like a language roll. And because the two languages you're looking at aren't your native language, we'll say let's aim for like a hard success.
Sounds good.
Whew. I rolled a 40 and my skill's at 41.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, so yep. At the 42 for the hard, I did get a 35. I don't think these rolls are going to get lucky for very long.
So you said 39 you got? So under
35.
35. So that's a regular success, not an extreme success, or hard success rather.
You're right. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So looking at these books, translating, the French and Latin that you know are probably more current. And these are kind of older. So there's some words in there that you don't really understand. You can get kind of the gist of it. And you can pick out little words that occur commonly or occur a lot in the book. So you see the word dreaming a lot. And you see something about like out of time, out of space. You're not sure what that word is, but it's out of something. And the word dreaming, Edmund or someone has underlined a bunch of times. Every single time the word dreaming occurs, it's underlined.
So, I'm no expert at this. Maybe he was into dream interpretation?
I think maybe it would have more to do with a dream realm. At least I think that's maybe what I've heard. Because I think there's a lot of people. Have you ever heard of lucid dreaming before? And GM, stop me if I'm on the false track. But I mean, like, there are some people who can actually travel and do things in their dreams and they think it's related to reality. So maybe that's what he was thinking. And this space that he's, the map and space that he's talking about is kind of connected, like reality space is connected to this dream space.
I mean, I've heard about it, but I've never really thought dream realm, that's an actual thing?
I mean, according to some people. I can't say I've ever been there before, but I've also never had hands before, so you never know what's possible.
I mean, you make a valid point.
And Belle, I think with that successful occult check, you have heard of lucid dreaming and you have heard of dream realms, but something about the way the writing is done and kind of the little pictures that he's made a lot of notes in the margin. You can see that he's referring to something doing the dreaming rather than him doing the dreaming. So you can kind of see a word that just like a Bible has like he capitalized to refer to another being. Mm-hmm. There is some being that is doing the dreaming. So you're very close.
Okay. So maybe we're in something's dream. Or we can enter something's dream.
And as soon as you say, enter someone's dream, or enter something's dream, you see a figure.
Oh no!
Walk.
I'm so scared.
give you a moment's notice here. You see a figure that it's not a person, and it's not a zombie or a creature. It's like the echo of something. Like when you walk through the water and you leave a wake behind you, that's what this looks like the wake of somebody walking through. And it's walking through partly in the library, partly in the wall, and then partly outside. So this thing has absolutely no respect for time and space or physical constraints. And as you say that, it pays no attention to you. It doesn't look at you. It doesn't stop and be creepy. It just walks straight through the library and disappears into wherever the next room is or the next wing is.
Did you see that?
I'm not exactly sure what I saw.
His eyes are bug-eyed right now. He's just frozen like a statue in place.
We should follow it.
And as soon as you say follow it, you see another creature. This one is much smaller, and it's probably a foot off the ground. And it follows the same path as that first figure.
Let's go. And Belle just takes off.
So you're headed towards the east wing.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. I'm so terrified. I'm so scared right now.
In a panic, he despite his nature, he's more concerned about making sure Bella's okay. So he's going to chase after, even though everything in his body says no.
So as you approach the door to the east wing, that is where we'll take our break, and then we'll come back.
Oh, come on!
It's the perfect spot to take our break.
I know it's fine. I probably need to cool down too from all the adrenaline secretly pumping through me right now.
Can I make a side note that he managed to grab the maps before taking off?
Of course. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, he already had them in his hand, so he, took them with him. So we'll sign off to go to break. So this has been Belle.
Hello. So excited.
And Adraias.
Please don't let us die.
It is the mid-episode break. Did you know? We don't pay to advertise this show. So the only way we can grow is if you tell someone about us. Is there someone you know who would smile at this episode? Is there a great necromancer who should know about its upcoming doom? Share this with them. It would help us. And you. Thank you.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, Manodzi is our passionate Il Fornado chef. Your culinary creations have tantalized our taste buds and enriched our lives. You're a flavor genius, end quote. Is there an episode of Fire-Breathing Kittens that would make someone you know smile? Telling them about it would help us. Thank you.
And welcome back. We are here with Belle.
Hello.
And Adraias.
What's good?
So we just came to you both opening the door to the East Wing.
Yeah. And before that, we had been driven to an estate with trespassers that were supposed to be hunting, but no one would really tell us what they look like. And both the people on the estate seemed very frightened. So, of course, we were very excited. And so we just got finished investigating the library where there's some weird space and dream stuff being mentioned. And we just followed some weird, I don't know how you'd say it, non-Euclidean beings into the East Wing. So we're just about to find out what's there.
So the door from the main wing opens up into a corridor. And both of you immediately notice that it's wrong. It's subtly wrong, but it's wrong. It takes a moment to place it because the ceiling is the right height. The floors are the same stone as the floors elsewhere in the estate, but the hallway's too long, maybe 30, 40 feet too long. There are doors on both sides of this hallway. Think kind of Scooby-Doo chase, how you have all the doors just lining the hallway. And at the very end of the hallway, it opens up into like a big room. So you can't see the whole room from where you're standing at the end of the corridor, but you can see that there is a big room there. And the architecture here, this is the newer wing. It's plainer, it's more deliberate, very practical. It doesn't have the same kind of opulence as the rest of the estate. And obviously it's built in like a newer style, quite obviously. The being, the creature that you saw earlier, that one of them that kind of walked through the wall, is standing at the end of the corridor, kind of in the doorway, not doing anything, not posing any harm, not being threatening, just standing there, just watching. Or you would say that if it had eyes, but it's just a form. So it stands there and waits. So what do you do?
Hey, you're trespassing.
What a way to start.
The being does nothing. It doesn't react to your comment threat.
He is just standing there frozen.
What are you doing here? Don't you know this is someone else's property? Still nothing?
There's no reaction. It doesn't even seem to respond to what you say. But after you're done talking, it just crosses and goes into one of the rooms on the sides of the corridor. But it's not reacting to what you say. There is a definite pause, and then it continues.
Well, I guess we might as well go follow it.
Can it hear us?
I don't think so. Which means it probably doesn't know we're here, and we can follow it without it knowing.
With that, he takes a big sigh of relief.
All right, let's go.
Who, as you move to go down the corridor, which of you is taking point? Which of you is walking first?
I'd say Belle is first.
Belle's first?
In this moment,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
As Belle, I mean, Belle would be flying, right? She would be taking a step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. You kind of start down towards this door near the end, and you go past one door on the right, one door on the left, one door on the right, and then you're kind of pushed to a halt because 3 of those beings like cross the hallway into a room across from where they came out. like directly in front of you.
He's going to fall back and mutter some profanities.
And when Adraias mutters the profanity, a being comes out of one of the rooms. I need you to roll me a sanity check, please.
Okay. This is going to go well. 95.
Yikes.
I dare say that's a little bit over.
Just a tad.
You take 3 points of sanity. Like you lose 3 points of sanity.
Down to 56 now.
So the creature doesn't stop, just keeps going. It's just the suddenness and the closeness of that being most likely unsettles you, whether you show it or not. That's up to you. But it does have an unsettling because it just crosses right through you.
I would say probably in this moment, the shock and everything perplexes him, but his eyes are wide, and as soon as it happens, he freezes like to give an idea, Jurassic Park the first. He is frozen, not moving, hoping the thing does not come back to come after him.
It doesn't come back, and in fact, you feel, and I'll leave it up to you whether you follow this feeling or not. But you have this feeling, this pull to go into the room that the being has now left.
Again, despite everything in his fiber going, do not do it, something is telling him you really should for the job. So he's going to, in a very stone statuesque style, pick himself up off the floor, dust himself off, and very rigidly walk to where it went to.
I do want to add, Belle probably wouldn't have noticed any of this because she's just beelining it straight to the door the first figure went through. So good luck.
Yeah, he's not much in thought right now.
So Adraias, you go towards that room that the being just left. You open the door to the room, and both of you, seemingly unconnected, because how could it be connected? It's way in the other room. But you all both hear the front door open, that creak, and then slam shut again.
Belle just turns around and says, Adraias, did you... And notices he's not with her. Oh, where'd he go?
Bella? Oh, crap.
So Adraias, the room that you're in is about the size of like a small office. It kind of looks like an accounting office. There's some ledgers and bills out on a table. It's got one of those really cool banking lamps that has the green shade across the top of it. And you walk into the room, you look around, you look at the desk, you look back up, and there are probably 13, 14 of these things crowded into the room. It feels crowded, even though they can move right through you. It feels like a whole bunch of people gathered in this room all at once.
He is already regretting all the decisions he has made up until this point. He doesn't like the room alone that he's in, let alone these beings. He is not having it right now. He is just caught. He is standing motionless, yet at the same time, his eyes are darting around so wildly, looking at each one of these creatures. And he's starting to come unravel just a bit. His anxiety's in full swing.
I will get you to give me a dexterity check.
So like a dodge?
No, just a straight dexterity check. It would be the number that's up on the top.
Gotcha.
For characteristics.
5 out of 70.
Nice. So with that extreme success, you're able to kind of maneuver your way into the room where you're not touching any of these things. And they've never really seemed to notice either one of you. But here they seem very involved in something that's happening on the desk. One of the beings is standing kind of behind the desk. And when you look at that really cool banker's lamp, really cool is, of course, the GM saying that it's really cool because I just really like banker's lamps. When you look at the banker's lamp, you can see a hand curled around the bottom of the banker's lamp that is completely not attached to any of the beings that are in the room. Just a hand.
So player-wise, I love the idea of unique anything. Character-wise, anything financial he dreads. And then seeing this hand on this lamp, he's going to have this twisted sense of relief because of reasons. Yet he's also in his head going, and this is why I didn't want to come to this job specifically. Yet I needed the money.
I will get you to roll another sanity check.
Fair. Very fair. Here it goes. 74.
I'm going by the die.
Oh, no.
I apologize.
Oh, no.
You lose 4 points of sanity.
Oh, my
Maybe
God.
it's the beings, maybe it's the financial records, but something really gets to Adraias in this room.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the hand.
The hand.
The hand.
So we're going to leave Adraias in that room for a moment.
Think about my
we're
life
going
choices.
to go to Belle, who is going down the corridor, is going into a room.
Yes, wants to follow the original figure.
Okay. So the room the figure went in is on the left side. It's the closest door to the big room at the end. You open that door. You look inside. Looks like an office. No figures in there. Just dark. Do you go inside?
Yes. Although I don't think I have a source of light, so I'm going to keep the door open if I can.
Okay. You go into the room. Don't have a source of light, so you leave the door open. And you're back at the beginning of the hallway.
What? That's not fair.
And the door is open to that room.
How is that?
And I need a sanity
Wow.
check, please.
Yeah. 63 on a 74.
You lose 2 points of sanity.
Okay. Not bad, not bad.
It is pretty weird. You were going into that room and now you're back where you came, but the door is still open. Doesn't really make sense.
I wonder what this space is trying to say, if space is a language. Maybe it's saying, try again. So let's try again. And she's going to go to the one all the way down, but on the right.
All the way down, but on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Sorry, I say things as a GM. I don't necessarily, mean to.
No, that's always a good, I'm in for a treat. I'm going to die.
You go to the room on the right. You open the door. There's a window in that room. Based on what you know of the estate, you should be able to see the guardhouse from this room because the guardhouse kind of wraps around the building a little bit. But when you look outside, there's no guardhouse, no morale. You can kind of see the magnolia trees a little bit, but spread out in the room is just maps. And I mean floor completely covered. You cannot see the stone floor. It is just maps on maps on maps. There's ink on the walls everywhere. And in true horror fashion, the word mistake is written in ink. And maybe coffee, you're not quite sure, but there's something like dark being used for the word, but the word mistake is on the wall.
This can't be good. Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Are the magnolias in full bloom like they were when we entered the estate?
They are not.
Mm?
Excellent question.
Okay, and it was the second map that said the guardhouse was on the other side.
Correct.
Oh,
14
my
rooms,
God.
guardhouse on the wrong side, library on the wrong side.
Okay. I have no Adraias to share this with, but what I think is happening is that we are also adrift in time and space. Each of these rooms is probably like a single point in time that has existed in the estate. And they're all important times in this singular like space with the rooms. So each room might actually have some important information. What I don't know is why. I have a feeling all of these, shades or what we're seeing are actually people who have gone through these times and spaces, but we're all unaware of each other. So I think the big thing we should do we need to figure out who has created this space and get them to stop somehow, which is probably going to be the one who's dreaming everything. Oh my God, I need to find Adraias.
Someone needs to find him. He's about to lose it.
I will say with this room, sorry, I should have asked you when you opened the door.
Mm-hmm.
Do you stand outside the room or do you go in?
Oh, I definitely go in to get it when I go and try and look at the magnolias.
Okay, my apologies.
Yep.
So when Belle goes in, there's no figures, but you do hear a voice coming from somewhere, a man's voice, older. At first, it's just coordinates, the same coordinates that you read earlier in the journal. They don't really mean anything to you. They're just numbers. And that repeats 3 or 4 times, like a number station, if you're aware of what a number station is, which is just, for the listener, which is just like a series of numbers that repeats on like a radio frequency. But it's just the numbers and then nothing. That repeats 3 or 4 times. And then you can hear a man's voice say, "Please watch the maps."
I fly up to get an excellent vantage point, and I also do it so I don't step on them. Do the maps move in any way?
No. There doesn't seem to be any breeze or anything in here. They're just laying flat.
Okay.
On the floor.
I want to say to whoever said that, and I'll just say it to the general room. Well, I'm watching them and nothing's happening. Did you want me to find one map in particular, Sir Ashford?
And you hear this low chuckle. And it's not menacing by any means. It sounds like genuine amusement at what you said. And Adraias, I think you even in the other room down the hall, quite a bit down the hall, you kind of, as just a voice coming from the house, you can just hear this kind of chuckle. And it says, "A sense of humor is much appreciated." And one of those figures from before, one of the smaller ones that don't seem to touch the ground, crosses through the room, it brushes past you, but you don't feel it. But it kind of, it's close enough that it would brush you. And then goes back out the door and you kind of see it go down the hall towards the big room.
Oh.
And then the coordinates start repeating again.
Oh, I love it.
And then Adraias,
Okay.
in your room, the people in the room, these figures, I call them echoes, begin to file out of the room. Very orderly, very businessman-like. They don't bother to open the door. They don't need to. So they just begin filing out around you and out that main door and down the hall.
So he's going to take a moment to look at the desk and begrudgingly observe the hand to see if there's any like rings or a watch or anything significant to tether them to someone, along with seeing if there's anything that sticks out in the ledgers.
Give me a let's say survey or psychology. Yeah, survey or psychology.
I'm going to go ahead and stick with psychology because I don't see survey.
Apologies, I may be using an older character sheet.
That would be an interesting skill to have.
Yeah.
See. All while he's doing this, he's muttering, just gotta get through it, just gotta get through it, just gotta get through it, just gotta get through it. 88 out of 50.
Okay, that's not a success. But even without a success, you can clearly see the hand has ink stains on the fingers. And then when you look at the ledgers, they don't really make that much sense because, one, they're old. Two, I don't believe you have any background in like accounting.
He's good about handling his own money, and that's pretty much all he cares about. So no, not really.
Yeah. You flip through these pages, they don't really make any sense. You see some names which you may or may not recognize. There's a Dante LeBeau, which, it's a name. There's a few other names. There's some mentions of a bank, like a banking system. You get the impression that Sir Edmund had his hands in very many pies, I guess is the best way to put it. He was like a co-owner of a lot of companies. He did a lot of charity work. He gave a lot of money to charity. And as you're rifling through these papers, you can see the hand around the banker's lamp just slowly start to let go and kind of slowly dissolve into the air.
He's going to try to pretend that he didn't see that. And so he doesn't recognize any of the companies or anything.
I don't believe so. There might be a couple that a place might stick out. But I don't think any of the actual banking information relates to him.
Okay.
You're not seeing your bank account number on any of these pages or money that you've owed written down on these pages.
And with that, he's already bored, already agitated, and already clearly freaked out. So he's just going to, he's going to kind of nod at the paperwork, maybe try to tuck them into files and go, that's for someone else to I think to look at. And he's going to pick up the folders and he's just going to kind of cautiously, almost as before, Scooby-Doo kind of creep out the door and kind of look around out in the corridor. And he's going to try to go down the hallway to see if he can find Bella at this point.
And I think that's where Belle pops out. She just zooms out of the room and turns, looks around and sees Adraias there. And she says, "Oh, there you are. Where'd you run off to?"
Him not really paying attention at that particular moment hears your voice and ends up shouting, startled, as he throws the files and paperwork in the air. Ah!
What? What? Why are you going wah for? It's just me.
Let's just say I seen a hand disappear into thin air and more of those things. Not to mention, did you possibly hear a disembodied laugh and voice, something about humor?
Oh, yes. No, I talked to Sir Ashford. He seemed very happy to have some company.
That was Ashford?
Yes, it was. I think he's just been down here all by himself for a while. But I think he definitely wants to see us, and we should go and follow. We need to go down into that big room. Oh my gosh, let me tell you what I figured out. And she's just going to reiterate her theory as they walk.
Well, that sounds kind of solid. However, I'd like to impose something else too. Remember when those journals ended up saying something about dreaming over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, could we be possibly in and out of dreams ourselves?
That's actually a really good idea. We should ask him.
Yeah, I think we really need to find Mr. Ashford and get to the bottom of this. This is getting a little too intense for my liking.
I will add as a tiny bit of flavor. You're both facing away, so neither one of you would see this. You don't take any sanity issues with this.
Oh, thank God.
But these, the papers that you were like, wah, and threw them up in the air. As you turn away and you both are walking towards, I assume towards the big room.
Mm-hmm.
If this were a movie, you would see probably 20 hands come from either side of the corridor and just start pushing papers together. And it would be like someone on their hands and knees, pushing papers into little piles.
Nope. Nope.
So that if you were to turn around, I am by no means saying you have to, but if you were to turn around, by the time you reach the end of the corridor, there would be nice little piles of paper.
Oh my gosh.
Because Adraias is attentive to that stuff and would not have forgotten that. He would have went, oh, wait a minute, and then turned around to see such visage.
And in that case, I will need a sanity check because, let's be honest, you just did that to yourself.
Oh, absolutely. The scrape by rolls are starting to come in. That
Perfect.
was a 59 out of 60. Barely.
Perfect. Oh, and I will remind you, both of you, that you have luck points that you can spend for rolls. You can't spend them for sanity checks, but you can spend them for rolls. And given we're getting closer to the end, you may want to spend those luck points.
Oh yeah, been saving those.
Yeah, exactly. So there's happy little piles of paper. They deeply they disquiet you a little bit. Not too much. They are just papers. You don't see any of the hands that have since receded into the rooms.
He's going...
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say he's going to hesitantly go and pick them up and just kind of look around, wondering how that might have just happened, but then is thinking about everything else that's went on and goes, nope, not going to question it. And just proceeds back to the room.
Okay. So you both go into the big room. This room also has that air of something is wrong. Like something is wrong about the room. This room should be a rectangle, like a perfect rectangle, but it's not. It's obvious from where you're standing, not an optical illusion, that one of the walls is way too long to the other rooms. Stone floors. There are a whole bunch of surveying instruments kind of clustered in a circle in one spot in the room. So these are things like tape measures. There's a notebook full of measurements. It's like a protractor, but it's an angle. All the kind of tools you would use to measure, to make maps, essentially, to measure walls, dimensions, things like that. And then a notebook is open, kind of propped open, and you can see Edmund's handwriting in the notebook, marking down coordinates, marking down distances, measurements, things like that. And otherwise in the room, with the exception of the probably 10 figures standing over in the corner, the room's pretty much empty.
He's going to look around and see the things that are out of place, look at the coordinates, and he's just going to bring his eyes up to the ceiling. Mr. Edmund, a little help here?
I think you mean Sir Ashford. People tend to really like the respectable titles.
He rolls his eyes.
Sir Ashford, could we get a little bit of guidance here?
So you say that the 10 or so figures that's over on the side of the room all look up when you look up, and there's a pause for a moment. And it's a longer pause. And it may even be long enough that you start to think, great, I've just addressed the ceiling for no reason. Until you hear that chuckle again. And he says, respect will get you everywhere.
He crosses his eyes like a child and kind of sticks out his tongue. Oh.
That, okay, that's not very funny.
When you do that, the 10 figures that are on the side of the room, they walk towards you. They probably bridge the gap between you and them by about half.
Say you're sorry.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I just have some
No, don't.
family.
Just leave it. Just say you're sorry and just leave it.
I apologize.
You could see he's starting to shake a little bit because he's starting to.
The beings stop, but I don't think they actually stop because of what you said. But don't continue. They don't continue. They stop. It's just not you saying I'm sorry, and they stop. They just stop. There's another low chuckle. And there's this moment of the room feeling colder than it should. And kind of a pause in sound. You can hear Morelle outside in the guardhouse, like doing something, humming to herself. But otherwise, everything is really, really quiet. And then there's a tree branch outside that falls, or something that makes a noise. Maybe it's Morelle that makes a noise outside. And you see those 10 figures become 20 figures, become 30 figures.
What?
Become 40 figures. And you feel like there's so many people in the room, and it's crowded and it's awkward, and I don't know any of these people, but they're all really close to me and in my personal space.
Oh my gosh.
And then they disperse. And I'll get you to give me a sanity check before I explain what happens. Please.
Oh, how bad did I just mess up?
Yeah, I failed mine.
Somehow nerves of steel in this moment.
So 1 failure, 1 success?
11 out of 60.
Oh, yes.
So the failure, you only lose 1 point of sanity.
Whew. Okay.
Maybe it's because Belle is slightly off the ground, so you're able to kind of get up above them a little bit.
Right.
And Adraias has already been in a crowded room with these things. So even if he is unraveling a little bit, okay, I've dealt with this. I know what to do with this. I know they're not going to immediately turn on me and try to get me. But in a moment, they disperse. And I don't know how it doesn't bother you both, but there's this sound as they all go in opposite directions and seem to just run, not walk, run towards the outer walls and go through the outer walls. And you hear Morelle scream as a couple of them go straight through the guardhouse. And these beings are... Actually, give me a psychology roll. Both of you, please.
Oh, my psychology's not too good.
There we go.
Dang.
You can also give me occult if you'd like.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'll re-roll for occult.
45 out of 50.
Nice.
Oh, God. So I got a 71. My occult is 40. Oh, wait, no. Oh, sweet. I got a 17. And
Very
my occult
nice.
is 41. Yes, I mixed up the die. But yes, okay, never mind. I was considering using luck or pushing the roll.
So with your knowledge in psychology, with your knowledge in occult, you both notice that they're all dispersing from a central point where those tools are on the ground. And something in the quiet of the house, and then that sudden tree branch breaking, spooked them. And it's kind of like if you have a dog or a cat and they're already a little on edge, and then something happens outside and it's like, nope, just leaves, runs out of the room. Like that one little noise is the tipping point for anxiety. It was that tree branch or something that just finally spooked them, but something in the room, something with they're just tools. They're not, you see nothing weird about them. And Adraias, I would say you especially see nothing weird about them because you deal with tools. You deal with, mechanics and things like that. And these tools are just tools. But these things fled.
He's going to walk right to that center point.
Oh, I know we have to, but I don't want to.
He's going to walk right there and he's just going to stand and see if something happens.
I'll go with you. And if I would suggest maybe we should try maybe there's something underneath the tools.
He pauses for a second.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Was trying something else for a moment.
And he goes to pick up some of the tools and observe them, see if there's something off about them.
What kind of off things would he be looking for?
To see if the numbers are in order, if, things seem to be a little longer or a little out of shape than what they normally are, or if things that are supposed to have an edge are rounded off.
So you're looking for inconsistencies
and
weird
abnormalities.
Stuff.
Yeah, something that wouldn't be normal of that tool.
In a day full of weird stuff.
Exactly.
You're looking for more weird stuff. The tools seem fine. Like the actual, the physical tools, the surveying tools seem fine. They all kind of make sense of a tape measure measures. This tape measure measures. It's fine. But when it comes to the notebook, when you both are kind of looking through the notebook, I'm assuming you're doing it together. I feel like you're not going to separate in this room after what just happened.
Not at this point. Not after his last experience.
One page early on in the book has that same mistake kind of written over and over again. And there's a coffee stain on it. And it's written in like the black ink, same black ink that you've seen everywhere in this place. He had a favorite. And then later pages, you see these coordinates. And then you see in this house, on another page, over and over and over again. No role necessary. You get the impression that this was a revelation for him. This was a man who worked on a problem and then finally realized, okay, the coordinates are in this house. These are the coordinates of the house that I've been going on and on about. And then you see the word trap on the next page. And it probably raises hackles because trap is not a word you want to read.
And it's so unlike any of the other language we've seen so far.
But do you keep looking in the notebook?
I'm going to pause when I see that. And for context purposes, character trait. One, can we say that he actually did drink the coffee back then? Because he's actually a caffeine addict.
Yeah, sure. You feel no ill effects from that coffee. That was fine coffee. Feels like it was brewed a couple hours ago.
Gotcha.
Cool.
And two,
it's
he's going to get a random thought, and out loud in Latin, he's going to say dreaming.
Bro, why would you do that? Oh my God, we're screwed.
Latin is always appreciated, just in general, just to me and to this house. You say the Latin word for dreaming, and where you're standing, oddly enough, you feel a click in the floor. And if you were to turn the page of the notebook, and perhaps you absent-mindedly do, you see the word trapdoor.
Bro.
And maybe it was the words you said, maybe it was standing where you're standing, maybe it was looking through in the notebook. Maybe Edmund just was like, oh, Latin. Amazing. Latin. Whatever the case, you hear a little click under your, I'm assuming you're wearing boots. You seem like the kind of
Definitely.
person, Adraias, that would wear boots.
Like straight up, that if we're talking shoe wear, he is wearing like big, thick treaded boots. If you want to consider them combat boots or work boots, these things have massive, thick tread with steel toe, but comfy.
Yeah, leather jacket with a motorbike. You gotta have boots.
Absolutely.
But even through those thick boots, you feel like a little pop, like underneath the floor, and you hear there's a click and then a little pop, and it's only like an inch, maybe, but a little part of the floor kind of clicks up out of place.
I've really got to quit doing random stuff.
I don't know. I'd say you're pretty good at your job.
And he's going to try to take a step away from the area at this point, because he's like, if there's a moment I can get away and possibly not injure myself, I'm going to do that.
Nah, Belle will just immediately go and open the door. Here, hand me your flashlight.
Hand you my flashlight.
Okay, I'm going to open the door and shine it down there.
When you open that trap door, there's it's very heavy stone. But surprisingly, you're able to open it. Maybe it's just the power of these new hands you have. Maybe you've got a little help, but it's very clearly heavy stone. And when you lift it, the air comes up as different. It's cool. It's dry. There's a smell that's kind of like slightly damp, but
it's like it's a cellar.
Yeah, kind of like a cellar. There's like a ladder, like a wooden ladder that comes down, that goes down into the room beneath. It's not pitch black. You would think it would be because it's just like a cellar, like a basement. But you can kind of see what the bottom landing is like. A figure from earlier, very kindly, is standing at the bottom of the ladder. Just standing there, looking up.
Well, come on, Adraias. We've even got ourselves a guide.
Real quick, do you think we should check on that guard first?
Oh, she'll be fine. I don't think that these things can actually interact with us. And honestly, if she's in any danger, I have a feeling it's whatever's down in the cellar. There's got to be... We've accounted for the coordinates and the rooms, but we haven't accounted for the mistake yet. And I think that's what we're going to find down there.
Yeah, all right.
So, Belle, you go down. You go past the figure. Figure doesn't look. You're used to this by now. Adraias, you go down. And the figure steps in front of you.
Oh.
Doesn't touch you. Doesn't make any threatening motions towards you. But stands in front of you and kind of waits.
Am I not supposed to go?
And there's another figure behind you. Kind of between you and the ladder. And they're not touching you. But the gun you're carrying suddenly feels a lot heavier than it did a moment before.
Oh, I get it.
He goes to take the shotgun basically off of his hip and sets it upright properly by the ladder and gives like kind of like a weak thumbs up with a smile, like, eh?
I wish I could award sanity points just because that's it's adorable. Both figures just disappear. They don't like run off. They just boom, poof, gone.
All right.
Respect gets you everywhere.
Yeah. I think he would be trying to like talk himself up, like pep himself up in the moment, like, yeah, all right, cool, did good. But everything about him is going, oh my god, I don't want to be here.
Give me another sanity roll.
Oh boy. DM's just like, I can't award sanity, but I can take it away.
Oh, 4 out of 60.
Holy crap.
Very cool. You lose. No. You're like, you know what? I'm scared. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe what's happening. But I've seen weirder. I was stuck in a room with like 20 of these things. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Smiling on the outside, internally screaming on the inside.
You both go start walking down the like path that's underneath the house. This is not like the stone in the house. This is like a limestone kind of like a smooth stone that's a little bit softer because you can see like a path that someone has walked repeatedly. It's kind of been worn down. And it leads into a big circular room. Again, as is like a running theme with this place, it's bigger than it should be. Like, you folks were outside, you saw the way the estate looked. And like, where is this room in relation to the rest of the house? And how did someone put it here? Like, where did this room come from? There's lots of headroom. Adraias, you don't have to like bend or slouch to get through. There's at least kind of 7 feet of, above room. The ceiling's quite high. There we go. And you walk into the circular room. The walls are covered from floor to ceiling in these carved symbols. The closest thing would be like hieroglyphs, but they're not actually hieroglyphs. It's the same kind of like picture stand-in for text. It feels like text. It feels like words. In the middle of the floor, seated on bare stone, the same way that a person sits at a desk to like work at a desk, but sitting on the floor, is an older, gaunt-faced man with ink-stained fingertips, writing something into the floor, making more of these symbols. And when your feet kind of touch the floor of that big circular room, he looks up, but he does so in the same way as you do when you're working hard on something and you kind of like glance up because someone came in the room. You go back to what you're doing for a second and then you finish your sentence, your figures, whatever. And then he looks back up and he says, you found the source of the voice.
Sir Ashford, I presume?
Mm-hmm. You did provide a rather excellent map.
And he seems so... like, this man is translucent. You can see that it's a person. You can see his figure, like his features and everything. But he's the same color as the walls around him. But he seems so pleased that you said that. And like you praised his work. And he seems so pleased by that. And he says, "My dear, thank you so much." He says, it warms my heart to hear it. I never intended it to be a directional map. And he says directional map in kind of a little bit of a snobby way. Like, who would make a directional map?
We're going to make a directional map in this non-Euclidean mix of time and space.
Exactly. So passé. He says, but I'm so glad you both came down here and endured what I'm sure the house was giving you.
He's currently just looking around the room while listening and he's honestly at this point enamored. He has a morbid curiosity of these symbols, how the room is just unusually big, how it's fitting in the structure. He's went from thinking that this house is creepy to now I need to study it. He's starting to slowly slip into an obsession because that's how he is.
I'm sure that's something the house would really appreciate as well and foster and prey on.
Yeah, it does seem like the more you think, I want to study this is really interesting, the more that little voice that is in all of our heads, or most people's heads, I hear some people don't have it, kind of eggs you on and is like, yeah, look at the walls. How did they get them so circular? That's not natural. How would you do that? Would you? And then the little voice is like, well, if I put this wall up here and I smoothed it with this, and you'd be forgiven to just kind of be off in your own little world in this room. But Edmund kind of looks at both of you and says, I heard, or maybe I thought myself, I get very confused sometimes. None of my maps were ever wrong. I want you to know that. It's my pride for you to know that. All the maps were right at some point. Never think of space as fixed. That is a derogatory, dirty word to me. My maps are a record of what has been remembered here.
So what's that mistake then? Was it that this was all fixed to begin with and now you're just trying to rectify all of that?
The mistake. And he looks over at Adraias, and not to say Adraias is a mistake, because I realized as I was speaking that would come across. He looks over at Adraias, and he's like, son, you'll want to come away from the wall. They have a way of drawing you too far into your own head. And he kind of like beckons, and he's like, come over here.
Yeah. And he starts looking at the wall real strange, like, what just happened?
Suddenly they seem a little less interesting than they did a moment ago. Just a little bit of space. He says the mistake was to think of space as fixed. Mm-hmm. To think of the home as wrong. To think of the rooms moving and the bookcase that can duplicate things. And there are so many things in this house that I couldn't even find them all. He says once I went into a room and it was an office. My office. And I went back out and I had forgotten my quill inside. So I went back in and suddenly I was outside. And I thought that's strange, as one does. I went back into the room and I was on the roof. And I will tell you, both of you, I did it again. And I shouldn't have. What madness this is to do it again. And then I ended in the kitchen. And that took up weeks of my time making a map for each time I went in the room. And that was my mistake, thinking that a map only has one outcome. I have infinite maps in this home. Do you understand how exciting that is to me? This thing that lives beneath the house has a way of moving time and space so that geometry never stays the same. I relearn how to make maps every time things change. And he's so happy and he's so excited to finally be able to tell somebody about this.
Wow, that does sound really exciting, but I must ask you, Sir Ashford, what's the point of making the maps if space is ever changing? Wouldn't it make sense then to just let go of the past, of all the other experiences you've had, and just live for every possible experience? Why record that you went to the kitchen this time instead of just moving on?
And I think it would be easy for him to like snap back with an answer, and you kind of see him move forward like he's going to. But he pauses. He says, that's an excellent question. But have you ever journaled? Have you ever written down your experiences?
No, actually, this is the first time I've had hands.
Oh, my apologies. You will. And he looks at Adraias and he's like, have you ever made record of your journeys?
I have indeed. The question I pose for you, though, what's the ultimate destination?
He gets kind of not a cocky, but more of a, like, playful, like, smirk on him that's like, answer me this, my good scholar.
Kind of like he's going for a checkmate sort of question.
He says the ultimate destination is, well, I hope I never reach it, because then the journey's done. The journey's ended. No more maps, no more dreaming, no more of any of this. I make a map for each time to remember the experiences that I've had. I have no children. I have no partner. At my age, I don't expect to have either one. I am the last of my line. So someday, if the being allows me to stop, and I hope it never does, I will have all these maps to be remembered by. And I will be known as a great cartographer.
Adraias just kind of holds his chin there for a moment. He just kind of nods, kind of with a reflective understanding of what Mr. Ashford is meaning by all of that. noting that he has somewhat similar goals of his own.
Well, I don't mean to say this to, take away from your joy, and I do love your maps. They're just so beautiful. But if I must be frank, Sir Ashford, I think it's pointless. You can do all of the record keeping you want here, but at the end of the day, you're not remembered by the things you make. You're remembered by the people you've been with. And everyone forgets eventually. I mean, I've forgotten my own past, but I'm still here. I'm not trying to remember it. And I think you might have a bit of a nicer time trying to live and be remembered through people than whiling all of your eternal time here making maps.
Adraias will just turn to you, wide-eyed, but also kind of gaunt looking, like you just said some things that just literally slammed into his chest.
Are you okay, Adraias?
Yeah, fine.
And he gets like this 1,000-yard stare.
Oh no. Are the walls getting to you? Is this creature? Sir Ashford, you said there's something controlling you or something giving you this opportunity. Maybe it's taken Adraias too.
No, I'm still here. Just now a lot on my mind.
This room has a way of filling up the head, good or bad. The creature, and I need to break myself from calling it a creature. It's so much more than that. Whether you believe me or not, and feel free to not believe me. Outside of our perception, there is a creature who sees into our perception. It sees everything that we do. It sees everything we will do. It sees everything we maybe will do or won't do. And it can never come into our world. It maintains a completely neutral perspective. And this creature has taken a liking to this space beneath this home and this estate. And because it can't interact with us, I'm told it would destroy us if it did. But perhaps it's just boasting, and he kind of like winks. And he pauses for a second, and he like seems to get a little more somber after he said that. He says it exists beneath this home, this estate, and it dreams. It dreams of everything this estate could be. It dreams of everything I could be. Anything in this estate, it dreams what it could be. It dreams of you both because you've been here. I'm sure you saw the echoes. That is everyone who has ever come through this home reflected back. And I pray that neither of you engaged with them or attacked them.
No.
Because they can have quite a temper.
He kind of gets this nervous, snaps out of it and gets this nervous look on his face.
Well, I didn't. They were just minding their own business. I was being respectful.
Nope, definitely can't say that I did.
Starts looking
Edmund
around
kind
a
of
little bit.
leaves it be and doesn't pursue that line of questioning. He's like, I see no reason for the being to leave. And I feel the estate is made better. And the being's been in the estate for quite some time. I'm just the first to pursue it. To allow myself to translate its dreams. And he points to the walls, to all the symbols. And he said, these are all its thoughts and its experiences with those in the estate. And they go from negative, and he points to one wall, and kind of in a panorama kind of way, like gestures to the wall slowly across. He's like, and more positive to where I am now, where we exist in a harmony. I exist as a part, as a vessel to translate its dreams. Much as you have a transcriber to write down a voice, my maps give form to a space that is ever changing. And you can leave. It will let you leave. That won't be a problem. The door of all places in this home has never changed. It is always where it is. You just may seem to find geometry a bit more interesting after you do.
You know, Sir
Dre-
Ashford, I actually quite like this. I think that you see a lot of the value in this and being in your maps. But I think eventually you'll realize that you're making this being's life better. And that's where you'll find your true fulfillment. And I'm really happy for you both that you have each other now.
He said, that is very sweet to say and appreciated. And you can see him, the longer you talk to him, the more kind of like opaque and like normal he becomes. The longer he spends away from what he had been doing, the more he becomes normal, corporal being. And he says, I hesitate to offer, and please do not take the offer if you are at all concerned by the ramifications. But would you like to communicate with the entity?
Yes, of course. I would love to say hi, and we can always visit sometime afterwards too. Oh my gosh. I mean, afterwards is a time perspective. It won't really matter to you both, but yes, I would love to speak to them.
Bella, didn't we see something different than these echoes when we first started in here?
No, I don't think so. Did we? No, I don't even remember.
I think the first thing that we seen before we seen the echoes was something massive within the library.
Hold on. I think I might have forgotten that.
GM?
You shouldn't have.
I thought there was mention of something that was described as not caring about us or the estate, just sprawling through, and then there was some smaller beings that walked through after.
Oh, I think that was just one of the more like humanoid sized echoes.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
That would have been, yeah, it's a warped perspective. And if I had have been more explicit of Belle seeing it as a massive sized kind of thing,
Understood.
because that would have been you. Like, you are a lot taller, and then the smaller things are like Belle.
Understood.
Many bells following you. But good remembering, because yes, I did describe it as like massive. But no, you only saw the echoes.
Got you. So then he's just gonna,
Is it safe?
Edmund chuckles, and you finally get to see this man chuckle. He has this really like hard look to him, but he's so sweet and so nice and soft. His chuckle looks softer. It looks nicer. And he's
it relaxes him a bit.
He's like, is anything in this world safe? He like points to your leather jacket, and he's like, you boy seem to be one that enjoys a little thrill. Surely that isn't safe.
I like to think of my life as calculated risks.
He says, well, I don't know how you will perceive the creature. It is a creature of great power, great understanding. I'm not even sure where it comes from, really. And to communicate with something is to learn sometimes to learn its deepest desires, deepest secrets.
Huh.
If you are at all afraid, and he really emphasizes the word afraid in kind of a, manipulative way. If you're at all afraid, dear boy, please don't engage with it.
He stands there for a moment, pondering, and he just bows and shakes his head, and he goes,
Well, I didn't join the guild not to go looking for answers. Maybe there's some here with this one.
He rolls his shoulders back, and he just kind of settles into this kind of might as well go in for a penny and for a pound kind of demeanor.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You both want to. I'm going to get both of you to roll a power check. So it's POW on your... And this characteristic has to do with understanding the occult, mystical things, the power of your being. And you're going to need an extreme success to get the most of it. Did Belle
Dude,
get
I was so prepared to use my luck or a push roll. I got a 4. Like 0-4.
Uh-huh. That is, well, you're going to communicate with the being.
Yes.
Let me think here. That would be, in order to get that, I'm thinking that's going to be, I'm going to sacrifice 25 luck to push for this.
Now is
Do
the
it.
time.
Because
Yep.
I've got 37 on the roll, and my power for an extreme would be 12, so.
Yeah, you got to use that luck.
Now is the time.
Yes, we will go ahead and spend 25 luck to go ahead and do that.
So Edmund at first, I think, is expecting to be like the equivalent of passing a telephone to like one of you and then the other of you. But because of the role, because of like what he senses, and kind of the being can't sense it because the being dreams. The being isn't receptive to what is happening. He senses it in both of you, and both of you just kind of feel like someone just put a telephone up to your ear and didn't give you any explanation who you were talking to. And what follows is beautiful and vast, and it's images of the cosmos that neither of you had ever seen, most likely. It is inhuman. And neither one of you is human, technically. But it's this otherworldly feeling. And this creature has lived so long and has lived so many lives and seen so many things that at times you almost feel like it's getting bored. Like, I've seen everything. What else can you show me? And then it will see a new world or a new creature or a new being. And you get that spark of, oh, this is why. And I understand now. And there's no words, because that would require a language. And this being has all the languages and none of the languages. And there's colors and shapes and sounds, some of which you've never experienced and you may never experience again. But all of this is just like downloading into your head. And even as it's happening, you think, I never want to forget this. And at the same time, you know you'll never forget this. Because how do you forget all this information being shoved in your head? And you're pretty sure that it's not all going to fit. Your head is too small. There's too much information. And just when you think, I'm going to have such a migraine in the morning, it stops. And you're back where you are. And you feel no immediate physical side effects. But I need you each to roll me a D10. Because there is no way to stay sane after seeing what you saw.
Can I already just say that he's already like weeping? Adraias is already weeping at all this?
So just a D10, not a D100?
Just a D10.
I got a 4.
Okay.
And I'm right in the middle, out of 5.
Out of 5. So you lose 4 and 5 points of sanity. And you gain a +3 Cthulhu mythos, which, if you were playing another game after this, would reduce your overall sanity by 3, just like immediately, flat.
And I'd love to play another game after this.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Adraias, you lost 5 points of sanity all at once. You are a mess right now, which you already admitted.
I'm a blubbering mess.
Yeah. You may need to seek some therapy later on to kind of sort through what all's going on. But everything is so beautiful, and it's almost like it was worth it. And Edmund stands, and he's very shaky on his feet. This guy hasn't stood in who knows how long. And he gently, in that older person way, kind of gently pats Adraias on the shoulder and says, there, it'll be better in the morning. And he looks over at Belle, sees that she's not quite as, I hesitate to use the word broken, not as moved by the experience as Adraias is. And he looks at her and he says, was that better or worse than getting hands?
Well, if I never had hands, then I wouldn't have been able to have this experience to begin with. So I think it just is, and I'm very happy with it. And she'll take a feather from her hair and put it behind his ear if he's solid enough for it.
He definitely
And she'll say, "We'll see you next time."
And he nods because, he will if you ever come out this way again. Looks back to Adraias, just kind of like, not trying to pander or baby him, but just kind of looking back like, is he going to be okay? Do I need to,
Belle will go over and just like sit. She'll sit on Adraias' shoulder and just kind of give him like the best kind of hug around his neck, I guess, that she can.
So staying true to character here, he's going to flinch a little bit, like tense up because of reasons that have yet to be revealed. But he's gonna just kind of be tense, but he can't help the overwhelming feeling of that experience where he's just kind of in this moment. This 6'3" being is kind of reflecting a bit of a child at the moment. Not like being immature, but just like his inner child is just kind of getting exposed at the moment as he's trying to collect himself, because there were some chords that was struck.
Edmund goes over and sits down, and he doesn't start working immediately, but you see him starting to go translucent again. So he's going to start working again. And he points behind him, and there was never a door there when you were here, but now there is. And it leads up into just into a space just on the other side of the drive. And he says, "Please don't let me rush you. Take as much time as you need. But please, when you're ready, leave and call Mrs. Finch. Although she may be here presently," and you can hear a car coming down the driveway. And he's like, right on time. He says, "My solicitor is never a moment late." He says, "Please tell her I'm okay. And that there are no trespassers here. You are both welcome to visit, as are all the kittens are welcome to visit whenever they wish. But maybe," and he hesitates like he's trying to be nice, "maybe ask them to get a new guard." and
that's what kind of helps shake him up a little bit. He also he immediately hearing that, he lets out a disgruntled chuckle. Yeah. Come on. And you see him kind of shake his head and very masculinely just kind of, yeah, but we should get going.
Yeah. Well, it was very nice meeting you, Sir Ashford, and your friends. We'll see you again.
And
It
he
was
nods.
a delight.
He nods, but he's already started going back to his work.
Oh,
and you can start
there
to
we
see
go.
a new map starting to be drawn. And you both emerge up, and Mrs. Finch is there, and she gives you the form to fill out. Sorry, Jace.
Before he leaves out the door, finally, he stops at one point, and he just kind of turns around and he goes, "I think I might see you again one day, Sir Ashford. This was a delight."
And without looking up, he says, "I look forward to it, dear boy." He goes back to, like, doesn't look back at you, doesn't look up, but he heard you, and he keeps making his map. And
As he steps out, he goes, "As you will be, good sir." And leaves.
The respect is there.
so that is the end of this adventure. There's a companion episode to this, which went very differently. But for anyone who didn't listen to the other episode, you should. But there were a number of endings that could have happened. One of which was attempting to destroy the chamber, which would have caused Edmund to be absorbed, into the whole house, and the house would have kind of failed to exist. It would have woken the creature. Not good.
No.
Oh dear.
And there was always the option to flee. There was always the option to convince Edmund to leave with you, or to just speak with them and just to leave and never communicate with the entity. So those were the kind of the endings. There were some rooms in the house that you didn't visit. The kitchen, which had a whole bunch of food that had never gone bad, and like had ink out that never faded.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then there
Honestly,
that might have been.
No, I think that we had. I really like how we ended it, and I am happy signing off to that.
I guarantee you that this sounds like the best possible outcome we could have possibly had.
Yep.
And with that, I will ask some people to say, we'll end it there, and we'll say some goodbyes. So with me was Belle.
Goodbye. See you in the next adventure.
And Adraias.
Maybe we'll travel the stars one day.
And me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.